One thing that I think we overlooked on our first hotel was the strategic role that you guys play. If you have a brand, right? If you build this incredible, brand name, and you can have everything documented in a brand book, and then you go right to construction, you've missed a key element. Because everything that people feel and touch in a hotel is part of the experience. Mm-hmm. And I think you did a really great job. Mm-hmm. So I could be banging my head against a wall, and then you come in, you're like, oh, we'll just do this. And it's like, yeah, why wouldn't we just do that? And that's where it really comes down to you have to bring in the right people that have the specialized knowledge that are going to walk through that project with you.
Hey Jordan, thanks for joining me today on our podcast designed to help your business grow. I'm Robin Pasley with Pasley Commercial Interiors, and you are Jordan Malara with the Outrider Hotel.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. We're so excited to just learn a little bit more about you and what you guys are up to.
Yeah, so my name's Jordan Malara. I started in the military, but found myself kind of in the hospitality realm. And so right now we are crafting this, this hotel experience. And so you're helping us kind of bring that to life. But at the end of the day, we're hotel owners. We own basically 2 hotels now. And
awesome.
That's kind of what we do.
Do you plan to own more?
Yeah, I think so. I think every time we do something, it's always a balance of, what's best for our family and how do we merge what's best for our family with the desires we have for the future. It's our desire to do more, but we're opening this new one, which is our second one. It's our biggest. It's going to be our best. I think we're going to, pause there, kind of regroup,
take
and
a breath.
then, figure out where we're going to go from there. Hopefully more hotels.
Okay, so then military to hotel owner, tell us how you got there.
Yeah. I mean, they just go perfectly together. I don't know what's so confusing about that. Yeah, it's kind of this weird story where, when I was in the military, it was what I was supposed to be doing at that time, and I really loved my time in the military. But I always had a desire to do more, to do something else, and kind of found myself into real estate, owned some long-term rentals, owned some Airbnbs, and through that Airbnb experience and investment, found that, hey, it's kind of fun to serve these guests who are really happy about things all the time, and you get this little boost when they say, yeah, hey, we loved your place, it was so great, it made our trip phenomenal, and it's like, oh, that's nice. I think everyone probably appreciates receiving some sort of gratitude and appreciation. So kind of took that and figured out okay, what else do I want to do with this? Is hospitality for me? A lot of people that enter the hospitality space, the hotel space, they start at the front desk and they work their way up. Mm-hmm. And maybe in some ways you can say we did because, we were always talking to the guests through our short-term rentals and as we rented them out, but really had no formal experience in hospitality. Okay. But got to know other people in the industry and it seemed really fun. And there's a lot to dig into why I think we chose hospitality and why hotels are a great option. But eventually found a point where I was talking about real estate and hotels way more to my military counterparts than I was talking to them about the actual job that I was supposed to be working. And so I kind of felt this natural transition and tug to kind of pull away from that and actually just dive right into it. And so took a lot of the experience, I would say, of the military and have applied it in some various ways to hospitality. Okay. But at the end of the day, it's a completely different industry and we're learning every day how to do it.
Okay, so you have a counterpart that is your partner in this project. Is he your partner in the other hospitality project you have too?
Yes, in the other hotel, yes.
Okay, the other hotel. Mm-hmm. And that's Connor.
Yep.
And how did you guys meet and decide to do this together?
It's kind of funny, when I was in college in Oklahoma, I had this friend who grew up in Colorado Springs. He knew my business partner Connor and his wife, and he said, hey, I really want you to get to know Connor and Maddie. And so it almost like a seed was planted at that time that okay, I'm gonna really like this person. And I was like, okay, sure, introduce us. And so we then kind of all started going to church together. Okay. Really developed a deeper connection through that. And a lot of times, most of our friendship, we were really passionate about real estate, and so we were doing that kind of together while also working these full-time jobs. We had kind of this mutual background and kind of this mutual interest in real estate, and so we kind of kept just doing life alongside each other. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of trust built throughout that time. Okay. And when it came time to take on a bigger project, we knew we didn't want to do it alone. And, when you're going into business with somebody, you want to be able to trust them. You want to make sure they have the same moral values as you. There's a lot of things like I think people don't think through enough. And so we really wanted to be intentional about that. And it was just this awesome time to just say, hey, we do a lot of stuff alongside each other. Let's do it together now.
That's very cool. Okay, so the things that you have recognized coming out of you in this role, can you reflect into your childhood upbringing somewhere in your past to go, that's where that came from?
Yeah.
Is there anything like that?
But there is. There's actually a couple cool things, and it really has taken reflection. I think as a kid, you just don't really appreciate your childhood as much, and then as you grow up and you realize these things, you're like, wait, why am I the way I am? And one of the core things that really sticks with me is that I come from a line of entrepreneurs, and I never saw it that way for so long. So my grandfather owned a hairstylist and barbershop, and he actually owned 7 of them in the city that we grew up in. So I kind of always watched that, and I saw that as an example. And then my dad he's an optometrist. He, to me, growing up, he was just an optometrist. He just checked people's eyes. But he owned his own practice, and he grew that practice from 1 office to 2 offices. Oh, yeah. And he's, constantly been kind of investing into his business. And so I didn't see him as a business owner. But he was a business owner. Yeah. He is a business owner. And even my grandmother, she owned a florist shop. And so I just, wow. You don't realize it when you're young, but I think that really shaped me and really encouraged me to want to figure out what it looks like to own my own business. Yeah. And then I think when I look at, the hospitality aspect of it, there's an element of serving people, and I think that's all hospitality is. It's just, how do you serve people really well? What's the experience? How do they leave feeling?
Yeah, and that's, where you and I really connected, or how our firm connected with you guys on this project was that piece of it, of how to help people have the right feeling when they walk in the door. What's been the biggest challenge in the last 6 months?
I'd say one of the challenges, maybe the largest challenge we've had, has been, how do we take this fragmented idea that Connor and I have, and how do we turn it into what we want it to become? There's some people that they go to develop a hotel and they have the name, they have the idea, they have everything put together. They're those visionaries that, they've dreamed about this for forever. And in a lot of ways, we've dreamed about this, but not the specifics of it. And so a lot of the discovery in the beginning, as we're trying to push this project forward, is what do we actually want of this place? And so there's a lot of discovery that we had to do on our own to say well, what is meaningful to us? What are the places that we visit when we're traveling that really have stood out to us, and what is it deep down? And so I think that's where really it was a focus to choose the right partners in the project, because we knew that they were going to be able to take these scattered thoughts and put them together and then carry out that vision.
Awesome. So besides us, who are the partners that are working on this project with you guys?
So you guys, Rain Building for the construction side of it, and then Cognoscenti Creative for the branding side of it. Yeah. I think those we kind of see as really the 3 key elements to a lot of these projects.
Okay, so what gets you out of bed in the morning?
I go to bed at night often excited about what I get to tackle the next day, which is really just a dream come true. What gets me out of bed, I think, is I'm still kind of formulating. I'm young, so I'm still formulating a lot of my own thoughts, I would say. But one thing that really sticks out to me is this idea of legacy, and how do we develop this legacy for ourselves, for our family. And really, I think what drives that is, what is that legacy that I'm forming? What am I teaching my kids now? And how does that legacy, in the character of who I am, play into who they become? Yeah. And then there's, the really cool physical aspect of legacy. We have this hotel in Manitou Springs, a local community of ours that we get to now say, hey, we have this impact on the local community, and this is what we own, and this is kind of what we're hoping to create with it. And so I think that's what makes real estate fun, is there is this physical aspect of it that, people can drive by and they can see it, and we can take our kids through it, and we can say, hey, this is what we've created. I'll always say, what we've created is not by our own doing, right? We believe that it's the Lord working through us, and this is his plan for us. And so that's a really big element of all of this is how do we carry that legacy forward?
That's awesome. I love, too, seeing that thread that is connected through your family line and how you know that where you are today is because of the legacy that you came from.
Exactly.
Which is really beautiful. Tell us the name of your hotel and your concept and maybe what excites you most about this project.
Yeah. So the hotel is called the Outrider Hotel. It kind of the backstory of the name there is that, back in the day when people were coming out west and really discovering new land and trying to kind of frontier, they would send the outrider out to kind of scope out the land ahead of time. And so to us, kind of we loved that name, and it really spoke to us because it was a chance for us to go out ahead of people, travelers, even the local community in Manitou, kind of scope out the land and say, okay, yes, we're gonna choose to develop here. We're gonna choose to build something here. And I would say that's even true of us into the industry. We're still young, hospitality and hotel operators. And so I felt like there was a lot of ways in which this Outrider name really felt true to us and true to the area. Especially, we are in the West too, we're in the mountains west. And so I think that it feeds into the overall feel of the area too. So it has a sense of place, it's true to that, and it also holds kind of a special meaning to us as well. So yeah, what are we trying to create? And ultimately what we want is a place that's upscale, it's refined, but this isn't a new building. We're taking something existing, we're bringing new life to it, and that's really important to us as well. This building was an eyesore to the local community, had a really bad reputation, lots of bad stories that we've heard and also experienced ourselves behind this building. And so I think it's really cool to be able to take something that was really broken, something that was really beat up and broken down, and make it really something beautiful in the community and something that people are actually excited about. One thing that shaped us a lot is this idea of community, and how do you build community in a hotel? And what really shaped that was my wife and I took about 2.5 weeks backpacking in Costa Rica after we got married.
Okay.
And we stayed at a lot of hostels. And the one thing about hostels is they're not nice, but the community's awesome. I mean, the people you meet are phenomenal. And so that always stuck with us.
Yeah.
That, man, those are some of the best places we stayed. And we had to sleep under mosquito nets, and there were massive spiders in our rooms. And I mean, just like the overall, hotel experience, not great. Or like sleeping experience, not great, but the community was phenomenal. And so we really wanted to carry that community into it. Not only did we want to create a nice, safe place for people to actually stay, but how do we get guests to interact with each other?
Yes.
And so a lot of it is centered around like a really nice outdoor area, get people outside what they're coming to Colorado for anyways, get people sitting around fire pits, sharing stories about what they did that day, and just an open concept where we want people to hang out. And we'll see. I think it's easier to say like we're going to develop the area like this, and that's what we want to build. But I think it really comes down to then how does the company culture build that too. And so really the next step is hiring the right people to help us breed that as well into the hotel.
Oh yeah, your workforce there.
Yeah.
I really love hearing your perspective on the purpose of the hotel and who you want to attract to it, because of course we got to work with you guys on this project, and like you said, this one had some of a reputation. It has a location that's surrounded by some other buildings that you can't control. So I know that some of that was just how do we, on the budget we have, approach these hurdles and solving problems with how do we hide that or how do we highlight that, how do we make them look over here, not over there. And I know that we did a lot of that, and getting to play with color and, bringing some things into that space to brighten it up when we knew that the budget didn't allow for us to, rip everything out and start over, I think was some of the fun parts of that. And then using furniture to try to help tell more of your story, which is that you guys want people to connect to the earth around them and all the activities that our beautiful city and our adjacent mountains give them to do. So trying to connect the dots on that. That was really fun. Can you recall anything from our problem solving that was the most surprising or helpful in the process?
I mean, a lot. One thing I think is worth highlighting is that, we talked about these three partners. And one thing that I think we overlooked on our first hotel was really like the strategic role that you guys play. And so if you have a brand, right, if you build this incredible, brand name, and, you can have everything documented in a brand book, and then you go right to construction, you've missed a key element. Because everything that people feel and touch in a hotel is part of the experience. And I think you did a really great job with helping us walk through that of, okay, this is what you're saying you want to create. Now this is actually how you create it. And what you need at that time when you're going through a project like that is you need someone that's equally as creative and strategic, and that is also not going to blow your budget, like you said, because that's really tough. Like, yeah, there are ways to solve things, but there's not unlimited money.
Right.
And so it's like, yeah, there's a way to solve this, but it costs a lot of money. It's like, well, that's not really an option then. What is our next option?
Yes.
What we've learned through the process of specifically working with you and Zane is that sometimes you need someone that has seen this issue over and over and over again. And then they can reassure you. They could be like, no, this is what we do in this situation. So I could be banging my head against a wall, and then you come in, you're like, oh, we'll just do this. And it's like, yeah, why wouldn't we just do that? And that's where, like, it really comes down to, like, you have to bring in the right people that have the specialized knowledge that are going to walk through that project with you. We only have 2.5 weeks left. And I should be more nervous than I am because there's a lot to be done. But I'm not, because I believe we chose the right partners. I believe that you guys are going to execute. And I think that's one of the key things that you guys bring is just the experience, the connections. And now we have this amazingly beautiful furniture that can actually stand the test of time. So we're not fixing every bed frame every week or whatever. So
that's important.
Yeah.
You don't want to be doing that.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we're going to look for the right people to stay at the Outrider, who is that framework? Who fits that?
I would say, our ideal client is really, or guest, you could say, is really a younger couple, and by younger, I just mean maybe 20 to 40 years old, someone that is adventurous or coming for the area. We don't really believe that anybody is just going to make a trip out to Manitou Springs for our hotel.
Yeah.
And so the whole goal was for our hotel to have a sense of place in where it's at. And so to really resemble the local community. Ideally, we're looking at probably couples or single travelers.
Okay. Awesome. People that are going to experience all that Colorado Springs and Manitou Springs and the West have to offer. Awesome. Are you going to connect with local outfitters or people that maybe do climbing or things like that? Will you have those connections for people that are coming through?
Yeah, we're working on some of those contracts right now. We have partnered up with an e-bike company, so they'll be able to, guests will be able to basically book with them, and they do e-bikes, and then they do car tours as well, like little Jeep tours, and so guests can get a discount through the hotel with them. And then a lot of the products we use inside of the hotel, we're trying to keep local as well. The coffee we use in the lobby is coming from a local coffee shop. We actually have I'm really excited, we have an Outrider blend, so they made a special blend for us that people can buy and that we can brew in the hotel.
Awesome.
I'm a big coffee drinker, so that's just, I don't know, that's like a dream come true
That's
for
cool.
me. So yes, we are actively working on building up more of those partnerships because we are focused on people that want to get out and do more things. And so being locally focused, we want to point people to other great local businesses as well.
Okay, so where can people find the Outrider Hotel?
The best place is on our website, outriderhotel.com. You can find us on various social media platforms as well. We have an Instagram page, Outrider Hotel, and a Facebook page as well.
Okay.
Awesome.
And when is the opening day? When
May
are you?
1st.
May 1st.
Yeah.
So exciting.
Yeah.
We're so happy to have gotten to work with you guys on this project. Thanks for being a part of our podcast today.
Yeah.
And we look forward to grand opening.
Thanks.
If you need to create an unforgettable experience, then Branded Interior Design is your secret weapon, because we don't do boring. Designed to help your business grow, Pasley Commercial Interiors.